Hello all, welcome to day 2 training session of Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition. Let us have a quick recap of what are the topics that we have discussed yesterday. Yesterday we have discussed about what are prerequisites of OVA, that is we just need basic knowledge of SQL, that may be any kind of SQL. And yesterday we came to know about what is data, what are types of data, that is transactional data and analytical data, what is a data warehouse, and we came to know about uh, data warehousing architecture, whether how this architecture will be in a real-time industry. Okay, now let's move on to our next topic. As we have discussed yesterday that we are going to move whatever the data that is present in OLTP system to some OLAP system, that is a data warehouse. Sometimes a question arises in our mind that what is the need for us to move this data from OLTP system to OLAP system. Okay, in order to answer such question, the main features of data warehouse were explained here. Like, why are we not using this source system for our analytical purpose? The first factor that we need to consider here is persist data. In source system, the source systems will be designed in such a way that they can't handle, or the source systems will not have much capacity to withstand data that is more than for an year, or that may be more than for a span of 5 or 6 years. So in order to handle such kind of requirements, we need a data warehouse. And one more example for this persistent data is, if you want to generate report over a period of like 4 or 5 years, and where the required data is from different systems, and where our OLTP system has capacity to store only like data for a span of 4 or 6 months, then that will be possible only with the help of data warehouse. And centralized view, coming to centralized view, in a data warehouse, whatever the data that is present in multiple systems is gathered and kept at a single place, and where we have a centralized view of data, and there is no need for us to dig into various other systems and to know about how the tables are joined and how complex the tables are and all. We are just literally bothered about what are the tables that are present in data warehouse, just to join them and to generate a report out of the tables. So coming to this centralized view, it is going to be a simple view in a data warehouse, and we are not going to call a report from different source systems here in order to analyze what's going on in our business. That is, the analysis means by the reports. Analysis every time depends on whatever the reports that we generate. Fine. And coming to the next, it's data quality. Data quality issues are going to get resolved through this data warehousing process, because extracting data from different source systems and integrating it to the data warehouse is a very simple process, instead of extracting data from different source systems directly. Because if you want to extract certain data set from different data sources, we need to write a very big complex queries. But whereas in a data warehouse, each and every data will be filtered and the required data will be kept in an organized manner. And moreover, utmost care is taken to improve data quality during this process. And a single version. Here in a data warehouse, a single version of truth is available. Let us say in Amazon India, and let us consider as an example, we have Amazon US and Amazon India. But the boss of Amazon wants to analyze some data, like at the end of year, the boss at Amazon needs to know various products of Amazon and their sales. Let us say we have like a different set of products that are available both in Amazon US as well as in Amazon India. But in Amazon India, we have some additional products like some traditional Indian goods or something like that. Okay, these traditional goods are available only in Amazon India. But at the end of the day, the report that is required by this head of Amazon should contain the data that is in Amazon India even. That means the product that is like these traditional goods should also be available in his report. In order to handle such requirements, if it is present, this Indian data is present in an Indian system and the other data is present in American system. So in order to handle such requirements, what we need to do is, if it is in a direct OLTP system, we need to query data from both the databases, which is a complex process. But whereas in a data warehouse, what we are doing here is we are maintaining a single version of data. We are loading data from both US system and as well as Indian system to a single place. And if we click on navigation to a product, each and every product will be available there in a queue. So here we have a single version of data instead of maintaining different versions of data like Indian version or data of this US version like that. We will have no difference here. We will maintain a common data set here. And coming to this data model, sorry, common model. In data warehouse, that may be related to a banking data model, or that may be related to this e-commerce data model. Whatever it may be, a data model in a data warehouse will be organized in a common structured fashion. You'll come to know about this in later point of time, how this dimensional modeling happens in a data warehouse by looking at the tables that we are going to use as an example to work with our tool. Okay, this common data model will be designed in such a way that the same kind of data sets will be replicated in many kind of systems. Let us say each and every business needs to get analyzed on day-to-day basis, like day-to-day basis or some year-to-year basis or some quarter-to-quarter basis. Okay, this whatever the dates that are going to use in a banking or whether in e-commerce or whether in healthcare or whatever it may be, cross-functional domain, the date will be a common thing. So whatever the date table that we are going to design that contains a particular date and what the day that is like Sunday, Monday or Tuesday, what the month that is, everything will be constant for each and every system. And similarly for a banking system, they will have credit, debit, loan and all this kind of other columns. These systems will be common. In a data warehouse, a common model will be designed, but whereas in OLTP system, they will be designing the data set, that is, they will be designing their entity relationship data set in such a way that as per the convenience of application, they will design that as a part of the application. And if there are any requirements in application, then they will keep on changing the data set based upon time to time requirements. But whereas in data warehouse, there involves no changes anywhere. But the only thing that is present in data warehouse will be like, if there is any additional column that has been added in OLTP system, only that replication will be done. Only that additional column will be added, and the data to that additional column will get added from the date when which that additional column get added to our data warehouse. Okay, and coming to the next thing, in a data warehouse, it's very easy to navigate. In data warehouse, the data set is designed in such a way that it will be very easy to navigate kind of thing. Let us say it will be extremely difficult for us to understand all source data model designs, because each and every data model design in source systems will be done accordingly as per the system requirements of that application. Each and every application will have their own data model design, and they will be joining that various tables in the data models based upon their requirements and as per their easy understanding. But let us consider most of the business analysis will be done by non-technical business users, and for these non-technical business users it will be very difficult to go and learn each and every data set of an OLTP system. But whereas in a data warehouse, what we are going to do is we are going to maintain a single common model. Okay, as we are maintaining a single column common model, it will be very easy for them to understand this single model, because if a new person has been joined to a business unit of our business, we can train him only on that particular common model instead of training him on various source systems. It's very easy for us to train him on a single common model. Okay, got it? And coming to the next thing, it's very easy to navigate. In a data warehouse, we provide a easy to navigate model. In the coming sessions, we have something called as these dimensional hierarchies and something like that, like parent-child relationships. If it is, we have boss A. Under boss A, we have subordinates like B, C, and D, and under B we have subordinates like E and F. All these kind of relationships, all these kind of navigations are very easily possible with the help of the data model that is available in OLAP system. And coming to the last but not the least and very important feature of data warehouse, that is query performance. If we want to query around 1 lakh records from a source system, we need to combine data from various source systems, and each and every system has a lot of complex joins internally. In order to club both these systems and extract data, it will be a very tedious job for us. But whereas in a data warehouse, all the data will be gathered and placed in a single place, and it will be very easy for the system to retrieve such data, and the query performance will be absolutely superb here, because within a very limited amount of time we will be getting whatever the data that we desire to analyze. Why? Because here we have very less number of joins, and we have only direct joins here. There are no complex joins involved, and it's very easy for us to extract data from various limited number of tables that are available in this data warehouse design. Okay, is everyone clear up to now here? Okay, let's jump into our next slide here. How this slide explains it's too much of theoretical, but I will just give an overview of how data is transferred from OLTP system to OLAP system. Okay, in order to transfer data from OLTP system to OLAP system, the first thing we need to do is we need to merge all the data from various OLTP systems into a single OLAP system. During this process, the process must be able to convert different data types of different systems into a unique data type used in OLAP system. For example, let us say we have some source SAP system here. Here the employee ID, that is unique ID, is taken as number. But whereas in other source system, that is like DB2, the same employee ID, they will have employee ID in the form of numerical characters or like something like LDAP. Okay, here they are maintaining it as string. And let us consider some other third source system, that is SQL Server. In SQL Server, they are maintaining the same employee ID as like a very big character like varchar. But during design phase of our data warehouse, we need to take care in such a way that our data warehouse should contain data of both these three systems. Okay, is this fine? But in order to save data of both these three systems, here we need to define a data type. In order to define data type here, we can't declare these three different data types here in a single database here. So in order to do that, what we need to declare is we need to analyze the data that is present in both these three systems, and we need to take a decision to adopt a common data type here, because if it is string, the string can accept both these numerical characters, string characters, and varchar characters. Is that fine? So at the end, while designing a data warehouse, the utmost care is taken to have a common data type, because we can't declare three different data types on a single column in a data warehouse. Okay, coming to the next step, that is scrubbing data. Scrubbing is nothing but the removing the parts that are not necessary. Okay, while merging an OLTP data into data warehouse, it gives an opportunity for us to scrub data. Scrub data in the sense, if you want to remove some unwanted data that is present in OLTP system, because that data is very useful in OLTP system, but that data is not very much useful for us in OLTP system. Let us say like marital status of a customer. If it is like a banking business, the marital status of a customer is not at all bothered. But whereas in an e-commerce system, sometimes they will have an analysis like how the person is involving in our sales before he is getting married or after he is getting married, or some kind of stuff will be there. And there might be various cases, as various OLTP systems spell items differently. Let us say like here in OLTP system, in system 1, they are going to save country names with their country codes, like IND for India, PK for Pakistan, USA, like that. In a system 2, they are going to they are saving data in the format of their complete names. But whereas in a data warehouse, if we load these kind of data directly into data warehouse, it will be saved like this. While applying filtering or while applying any kind of where clause or something like that for generation of report, this IND is treated as separate and this India will be treated as separate as per the database terminologies. It's very easy to understand, right? Both the things will be treated as different, but which generates a very wrong data for our analysis. But for a better understanding, during our analysis, both these things should be same. So all this kind of data analysis will be done during the design phase of data warehouse. In the process of, I have said that process of transferring data from this OLTP system to this OLAP system is called as ETL, right? During this ETL, the second phase of ETL, that is after extracting this data and this data, they will apply transformations here. What is the role of these transformations is they will transform all such data. They will run a query here, like if it is India, save it in OLAP system as India. If it is PK, save this in OLAP system as Pakistan. If it is USA, save this in OLAP system as United States. If it is saved like this, at the end of the day, if we apply any kind of filter or something like that here, everything will be treated in a same manner. See, everything will be clubbed together and their data can also be clubbed together here. So in order to eliminate such kind of difficulties faced here in this scenario, the data is needed to be analyzed and it is to be stored in a common format, because during the design phase of these OLTP systems, like during the starting phase, some business they have adopted for only one business application, but as their business is growing, they have designed some 3 more other applications, and as they are going to design these 3 more other applications at different point of time, some applications, each and every application has its own standards, and each and every application will save data in such a way that as per its convenience. So, but whereas in a data warehouse, we need to transform all this data while transforming all this data into data warehouse, we need to take utmost care, like each and every data that has the same meaning needs to be saved in a common format in the data warehouse. Is this fine? Is this fine for everyone?
Yes.
And coming to the next part, see the definition here. Even these inconsistencies have to be addressed before the data can be loaded into the data warehouse, because IND and INDAA are inconsistent there, which gives a wrong meaning in our data warehouse. Okay, and after that, coming to the next part, aggregate data. OLTP data records all transaction details, right? And whereas in a OLAP, we will be loading data just for querying and analytical purpose. Let us say, as I have discussed in some example yesterday, some kind of business, they don't need each and every transaction in an invoice. At the end of the day, they need only number of invoices and total amount of that invoices. So in order to load such data, we are not much bothered about each and every individual product or each and every individual component that is present inside an invoice. What we need to do is we need to aggregate data that is present in an invoice, and we need to save data of just the invoices number and the total sum of that invoice. In a data warehouse, we will be saying only the invoice number and the total amount of invoice, instead of saving data like the invoice and each and every component, each and every product in that invoice. Is this fine? And coming to organization of data in cubes. While moving this transactional system data into data warehouse, it is transformed into organizational format for supporting better decision making. Organizational format in the sense, in an organization we will be having many departments like HR department, sales department, finance department, and maybe some many other kind of departments depending upon the business. Okay. If all this HR data is put at a single place, it will be convenient for all the HR people to go there and to fetch the data and to generate reports and to do their own analysis, like total number of employees that are joining in our organization, our company's attrition rate, or whatever it may be. Okay. Organization of data in cubes is nothing but the placing data in an organized way as per the subject, like subject area, like as per the line of business, like this HR, finance, logistics, and various other systems. Keeping the data organized in a grouped structure is called as organization of data in cubes. In this data warehousing perspective, this is called with different names. Sometimes in some tools they call it as cubes. In some cubes they call it as data mart, and some people they call it as schema, and some people they call it as subject area. These all are acronyms and they will be using as per their convenience here. Rajesh has raised a doubt over here. Need mouse access. I want to minimize chat window as I am not able to see screen completely. Okay. Is this fine now, Rajesh? And coming to our next slide. Is this clear up to now for everyone? I can't get you, Rajesh. What sidebar you are talking about? Is this fine now? Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. Is this fine for everyone up to here?
Yes.
Okay, now let's move on to our next slide here. See, this is the organizational structure as I have discussed previously with you. In a data warehouse, the least level that is present in a data warehouse is the column level. The group of columns we call it as a table, and group of tables are organized as per the subject area of the business. That is, as I have said, various names for that like schema, data mart, subject area, and cubes as well. Okay, and all these cubes or these data marts will be present in a database. A database is nothing but as we are using a common database here for loading all the data from source systems. This database is our data warehouse. One second, guys. I'm sorry for the pause. Let's move on to our next the topic where we have stopped. See, whatever the data that we are going to store entirely we are going to store in a data warehouse. Data warehouse is also nothing but a database. That may be a DB2 database, maybe big data database, or maybe some other database. Okay. By this, most of the theoretical part is almost complete. Here we came to know about how the data is organized in a segregated manner here. Everything is cool up to here, right? Okay, fine. Let's move on to our next topic, that is data mart. As I think I have already discussed about this, let's have a recap of this. What data mart is? In a data warehouse, whatever the data that is related to each and every subject area is segregated and placed together in separate components. Okay. And these segregations are these various the segregations are various subject areas. How we segregate in data warehouse is nothing but what we call as a data mart. Data mart is nothing but a subset of data warehouse. In a data mart, it focuses only on a single line of business or single department like sales, finance, HR, and logistics. Okay. In the data warehouse, we have various types of columns. Yeah, we everyone know about what are columns, right? But the columns are all also various types. They are like key columns. Key column is nothing but a unique identifier to identify that entire row. Okay. And description are string columns. Columns in which where we have descriptive data, mostly like descriptive data like names, description of products, user comments, and all such data that are present in columns called as descriptive columns. In data warehouse, we treat columns with these kind of names. And the most important type of column, that is measure column. Measure column is nothing but the column that keeps on varying depending upon our growth of our business or depending upon our number of transactions. That is the measure column. Like if let us say in e-commerce perspective, that is sales. In banking perspective, that will be amount in a transaction. Whereas in a BPO perspective, number of tickets handled, number of issues handled, like that. Okay, is this fine? Is this fine for everyone here? Here, this is just a screenshot of our OBI tool, where a key column appears like this with this key symbol, and string column appears with this line symbol, and whereas a measure column is nothing but it's like a scale. It will be get displayed in the symbol of with the symbol of scale in our OBI tool here. Okay, these three things are key, string, and measure. And as we have already discussed, we have two types of tables, that are dimension tables and fact tables yesterday, right? Dimensions tables are tables that handle most of descriptive elaborated data, whereas in a fact table we will have only foreign keys with measure columns, right? In our data warehouse, in our OBI tool, all the dimensional tables will be present in this manner, like they will be indicated with this symbol. But whereas a fact table, it will be present like this with the hash symbol on this table symbol. Okay,
Okay, can you explain once again what is key and description column?
okay, fine. I will explain that with an example here. Let us say a fact column, a fact table here. Let us say we are designing a fact table for e-commerce business. Here in e-commerce business, sales. This sales is nothing but a measure, like sales amount. Okay. While recording a transaction of purchasing a product in an e-commerce data warehouse, it happens like this. We have this sales table. Okay. We have customers table. And similarly, we have logistics table. Okay, this fact table is connected to both this logistics and customers table. Okay, what you are asking about, what is this key column here, right? In sale, in this sales table As I have said here, it's nothing but a fact table. Fact table will have only primary keys. Sorry, only foreign keys. Let us say for this sales table, uh, let's have an unique ID for this table here, that is order ID. Okay, order ID is unique ID to identify a transaction of purchasing purchasing any product. Okay, in this order ID, this order ID will be generated because of a customer. Okay, the customer name, address, pin code, and all the other stuff is available in this table. But in order to relate this transaction to this table, we need to have a key here, that is customer key. Okay, I am showing this as bold. Okay, okay, in order to need details of customer, we need to fetch the data from this table. Here this is foreign key, because in order to get details of customer, with the help of this foreign key, we need to fetch data from this customers table. Okay, is this fine here, Harish? But this customer key is primary key as per this table. As per this customers table, this primary key will be here. Here the primary key will be customer key, and here the primary key will be order ID for this fact table. And coming to this logistic details, we will have a logistic key over here. In order to get the shipping details of that courier, then based upon logistic key, we will fetch details of this logistic details from logistic key. In logistic table, we will have details like status, status, present transit state, and delivery status. Delivery status kind of thing. Okay, here whatever the columns that are identified with key, that is this customer key is a key column, this customer key here in this table is a key column, and logistics key in this table here is also a key column. Okay, and coming to descriptive column, this name is entirely a description, this address is entirely a description, this pin code is entirely a description. And coming to this logistics, in the present transit state, we will be having names of states. All these columns are also like descriptions. And whereas coming to the main thing, that is measure column, after the customer purchases a product, we have details of that order ID, customer name, and the final thing, the very important thing that we need to analyze our business, that is sales amount. This is called as measure, because at the end of the day, we are going to group various customers, and we need to club this sales amount to analyze our total sales for that particular day. Most of the operations like summation, average, count, whatever it may be, each and every kind of mathematical operations are mostly applied on this measure columns. Is this clear for you now, Harish?
It's clear. Measure column is nothing but a kind of table or just a column?
Measure column is nothing but a column in a table. This entire thing is table here, right?
Under fact table.
Yes. We call a table as fact table if it has a measure column.
Okay.
Fact table contains only key columns, like only foreign keys
Okay.
and measure column. That's it. Fact table will not contain any kind of descriptive columns. All the descriptive data is maintained only in dimensional tables. This is
Okay.
dimensional table 1 and this is dimension table 2.
Shall a fact table contain more than one measure column?
Yes, fact table may contain more than one measure columns even, but fact table will not contain any kind of descriptive data. Only the the key to
Oh,
dimensional column will be saved here in fact table.
okay.
And moreover, in our business, the fact table is the only table that keeps on updating day by day.
Okay.
Why? Because per day we have like 10 new customers who have joined to our e-commerce store. Only the details of that 10 customers, 10 customer details will get added to this table. Okay. But whereas in this fact table here, as per our everyday transactions, not only these 10 customers generate business for us, as we have around lakhs and lakhs of existing customers. Both the existing customers will be doing business with us, as well as the new customers will be doing business with us. All the records of existing customers will get keep on updating here, but their name and their address or all the dimensional things will be constant here, right? So there is no need for us to waste space in our data warehouse, because all this data will be like repeated data. This will be identified just with this single key, and they will fetch data from this table. Only
Okay.
their order ID and their transactions will get keep on recording in this fact table. And whenever they need a descriptive data like their address and descriptive data like their logistics, they are going to fetch that from these tables. These things will remain constant always. And one more very
Okay.
important dimensional table is date table. Date table is common for each and everything, because if it is like logistic details, in logistics they need to have details of at what date our courier is present at which location, because this date is common everywhere, and in that same particular date transactions will also get happen here, right? So date will be unique for all the systems. Okay. If a single dimension is shared by multiple facts or multiple transaction systems, then the dimension is called as conformal dimension. Okay.
Uh, one more question.
Okay, go on.
Wait. How many fact tables can a data warehouse can handle? Can have?
We are going to discuss that in our coming next 2 or 3 slides. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on. This is clear for everyone, right, up to here?
Yeah.
Okay. In this slide we have seen what is a key column, what is description or string column, and what is measure column. And coming to the next slide, here we are we are having a glance of what are dimension tables and what are fact tables. I have already shown this to you, right? This is fine up to now. Okay. And one more important topic that we are going to discuss in next slide, that is, during this dimensional modeling, as we have said, the data mart or schema, right? The schema contains nothing but a bunch of dimensions and fact tables. How these dimensions and fact tables are related to each other plays a very important role in designing the reporting tools, and it plays an important role for querying our reports from the database and querying whatever our required data sets are. Let us discuss that in detail now. Here the schemas will be divided into three types. They are star schema, snowflake schema and mixed or constellation schema. But coming to our OBI tool, there we can handle only the star schemas and snowflake schemas. And in most of the data warehousing tools and most of the data warehousing terminologies even, they will support only these two things. And as a best practice, most of the data warehousing tools in most of the data warehouses are designed in such a way to achieve this star schema only, because the performance will be very good in the star schema. Let us come dig into detail what the star schema is. Star schema is nothing but a fact is surrounded by some group of dimensions here. The fact table will be a central table, and this fact table will have direct relationship with various dimension tables. If you want to query any single data set, it involves very less number of joins. If you want to query data from this dimension and fact, it involves only 2 joins. Instead of having a table here, instead of having a join here, instead of having a table here and having a join between this table and this table, it will be like a complex process, because as more number of joins are getting involved, the query will be a complex and it takes lot of system requirements. It consumes lot of our server space even. Okay, this star schema is very important, because from tomorrow in our tool we are going to work only with these star schemas only. Okay, and coming to snowflake schema. See here, this fact table is directly having a relationship to these dimension tables. And coming to snowflake schema. Snowflake schema is nothing but, here we have fact table, right? Fact table have direct relationship with a dimension table, and this dimension table will have relationship with some more other dimension tables. There will be like tree kind of structures here, that is shown here with an example here. That is, let us say a sales transaction. This sales transaction, whatever that is present here, this is a fact table over here, and these locations, products, time, all these are descriptive data. Okay, and these products, it is related to various kind of other data here. So we are having a tree kind of structure that will be like a nuclear chain reaction kind of thing. Okay, but here we have only one fact, but this fact have direct relationship with some dimensions, and that dimensions will have relationship with some more other dimensions. Okay, this type of schema is called as snowflake schema. And coming to the next thing, that is mixed schema. This mixed schema as a concept that is available, but most of the times they will try to avoid such mixed schemas. But as per our tool, we can handle these mixed schemas, but not in a direct manner. Here we will be handling these mixed schemas like, they will treat this part as separate and they will treat this part as separate, and they will have some relationship between both these things, and they will treat this entire thing as some other single module again, which will be a very complex thing. Mostly we avoid using mixed schemas in data warehouse. As I have discussed previously with you guys, like a term called as conformer dimension, right? A conformer dimension is nothing but a dimension table that is shared between two fact tables. That is like date, the corresponding month, the corresponding year, corresponding week, day of that date. Everything will not at all vary, right? That will be common across any business. Let us say this may be logistics and this may be sales, but this date table values will be constant. So instead of maintaining them separately at various places for this thing and this thing, they will maintain it in a common place. So that kind of dimensions, they call it as conformer dimensions. Okay. Okay, by this slide, all our theoretical concepts come to an end over here.
So saying uh, schema consists of only one fact table, right? Except the mixed schema.
It's not a mandatory thing to have a single fact table, but as a best practice, if it is like a single fact table, it will be very easy to fetch results and the performance will be good.
Okay, we can have more than one fact
Yes,
table.
we can have more than one fact table even. It's not a problem. But as a standard, most of the time they used to maintain only single fact table. And
Okay.
these different fact tables will be present in our data warehouse in different data marts. Okay?
Yeah.
But they will
For
treat
every data,
okay,
for each.
but for every data mart, they will treat it separately. They will build these single systems separately.
Yeah.
They will treat this system. They will treat this system in a separate manner. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Is
Hmm.
this end for, is this end for the day or?
Yeah. This and only one slide is left over. Let me discuss with that. And coming to various data warehousing tools, as per our data warehouse architecture, we came to know about data warehousing consists of both ETL and reporting. For ETL, we have a lot of ETL tools in the market like Informatica, ODI. This ODI is nothing but a product of OBI that is emerging in the market and it's going to rock in the coming few years from next year maybe. And this data stage, Ab initio, SSIS. This SSIS is a part of MSBI. This is used for ETL and Pentaho. Pentaho is an open source ETL tool. And coming to the reporting side, we have OBI, SAP BO, Cognos, QuickView, Tableau, and MicroStrategy. And among these, MicroStrategy is an IBM product. This Tableau is an independent product which can handle very lightweight data, but we have super visualizations in this Tableau. And this coming QuickView is also have little similarities with this Tableau. Cognos is an IBM tool, but as per discussions with many of people who work in Cognos, the Cognos is bit costly it seems. So many people are migrating from Cognos to OBA. OBA is nothing but they will get that in a package with Oracle database. And we all everyone know that previously most of the systems that are built mostly on Java. For all the Java systems, the backend database is Oracle.
Okay.
And the OBI with Oracle database, they will have a group package for OBI. So the budget concerns will be very less for OBI. So that is the reason why most of the people are preferring OBI as their standalone reporting tool, and we are having a lot of openings for OBI in the market as well. The only thing is that OBI with this Oracle database, it's available as a single package instead of paying separately for that single tool. So many companies are opting for that just because of that package, and and as we already know, most of the companies will have most of Java systems where their backend database is Oracle. Okay, I hope you all have a good overview of what OBA is and where it stands in the data warehousing architecture. Is this fine?
Yes, that's fine. And one more thing, can you send me these slides which we have gone through till now?
Okay, fine. I will send these slides as well as this recording of this session as well. If you want, if you have any doubts, you can
Yeah,
recap this. Okay,
yeah, sure.
fine. Thank you. Thanks everyone.
Okay.
Can we end for the day, or do any one of you have any doubts?
Oh,
Okay, proceed, Rajesh.